Okay, guys, this is our first video lesson, and what we're going to do today is the start of our setup for tools and environment. So, I'm going to give you links for everything on the class page that we look at, but you'll also be able to see it here. Now, we're going to be talking about working on themes, and there's a whole theme handbook that WordPress has. Okay? And specifically today, we're going to look at child themes in a minute. But first, I want to get an editor set up. So when we did CSS and HTML before, I had you use Notepad because I wanted you to do the work yourselves and not have help. But now we're going to open bigger files and we're going to do some different things where we need a better editor. So we're going to get one. We're going to use one called Visual Studio Code. I'll give you a link to it, but it's easy to find if you just Google Visual Studio Code. You'll see it right here. We want to download it. I'm going to show you how to install it on both platforms. It runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Alright, so right now I'm doing the Mac install. So I download that. And there it is downloading. Okay. And I'm going to go to it in Finder. And I double click it, and that's going to unzip it. And there it is. And then I just have to move the app to Applications. Okay. And now, if I go to my applications, I see Visual Studio Code there. Now I use groups and I have this development group, so I'm going to move it into there. No, I'm not, because that's the one. There it goes. All right. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to click on it. And this will start it. It just takes a second the first time. I do want to open it, even though it's from the internet. And here's my editor. Okay, to start with. Now let's do that really quick in Windows. So I'm going to close it. Here's Windows. I'm going to start Chrome up. I don't want to restore pages. Do the same thing. Visual Studio Code. I want to download Visual Studio Code. I want it for Windows. I want the user installer and 64-bit, which I don't think any of you have 32-bit computers. So if you're running Windows, it's probably 64-bit. I'd be shocked if it's not. So I click on that little guy and it's going to download. Now, since this is an executable rather than go find it, I'm just going to click on it. And it'll start to run. I'm going to accept the agreement. Visual Studio Code is an open source product. It uses this MIT license that you see mentioned right here. And it's going to put it there, which I'm fine with. And calling it Visual Studio Code is fine with me too. And yeah, maybe you want a desktop icon. And this isn't a bad idea. I'm going to add an open with code action to Windows Explorer file context menu so I can do it from there. Nice. Alright, and I'm going to install, which shouldn't take long. Alright, once you have it installed and you're using it, basically things are going to be the same no matter which one we're on. So probably most of the time I'll do it from my Mac, just because for me that's the native one. When I run stuff inside this virtual machine, it takes a lot more resources and it's not quite as easy. So I'll launch it and you'll see that it's going to look just like the one on my Mac did, right? Same thing. Okay. So I would opt out of this personally. And Windows Linux subsystem. Yeah, that stuff you don't need to worry about though. Alright. Close those, and I'm actually going to close down this VM. So I'm going to say shut down. Alright, and then I'm going to go back to mine. All right. Now, the way these editors work is they have extensions, which if we look at this box right here, you'll see that it shows you your extensions. So I'm going to click on it, and it shows the enabled extensions that I have. These are extensions that I installed actually before. It's kind of funny because I uninstalled this program and reinstalled it to show you, but somewhere it saved these that I didn't find. So that's why these are already here. But there's another type of extensions that are built in. So if we show by clicking on these three dots, left click, and I go down and I'll show built-in extensions, you will see that one, there's a CSS language feature, so that's helpful to us. And then if we look at programming languages and we scroll down, they're in order. It has an HTML language basics. What that means is when we open files with CSS and HTML, it's going to highlight for us and do some things. So let's take a look at that, what that looks like. So I'm going to open a CSS file from my WordPress site. So I'm going to say File, Open. Now, my files are on the Mac, Applications, right? You guys will know how to find this in Windows. I'm not going to do that twice. MAMP, htdocs, and once we get to htdocs, it's the same for everybody. I'm going to look at this WordPress site, then NWP content, and there is plugins, themes. Okay, so I'm going to look at my themes, and I think what we'll do is we're going to probably do our work based off of 2020 because we all have it and it'll put us all in the same thing. So I'm going to open up this folder, 2020, and inside you see all the folders and files for a theme. And style.css is an important one, if you guys remember. So this is the file I'm going to open in Visual Studio Code. So I hit open, and you'll see here the editor. Now, I don't really want this. It's taking up space, and so I'm going to close that by clicking this little guy. See how it makes it come and go. Okay. And this is the Explorer. Oh, actually, I switched. That's what I did. So I switched to the Explorer. So I wonder if I do this twice. I can make it go away just by clicking it. But usually we'll spend time up here in the Explorer. So I'll close the Explorer. There's a few things I just want you to see. First, at the top, it shows you the path to the file that we have open. This is nice. The file name is here, but here is the path. So if you want to keep track or you forget where you are, you can look right up here and you can see where you are. Now, I wonder if that's something I set in settings or if it's already the way it is. We'll find out. On the left, you're going to see numbers. These are line numbers. When you work with bigger files, line numbers are just a great tool that's going to help you know where something is in a file. You just refer to the line number. These numbers are not actually in the file. If I open this file with Notepad, you won't see these numbers. Visual Studio Code puts these numbers here to help us as a reference. Then here on the right is a miniature version of our file, and you can click on this. It's kind of like a mini map in a game. So if I click down here, you'll see we jumped and scrolled down, and you can see this block of green text right here matches this little green paragraph right here. So it's just a way to see where you are in the file, and you can see obviously this is a really long file. Look at that. Down here at the bottom, all these alignment classes. Alright, and we can go all the way back to the top. And this is where we start. Alright, so that's what our editor looks like. These are the line numbers. This is where we will make files and edit files that we need. Okay? So, your first assignment for this week is to get Visual Studio Code, download it onto your computer, and install it. Okay? Then go ahead, find the folder for the 2020 theme, open style.css, and look at it inside and see what it looks like. Now, your colors might be different. The way you change the colors is by choosing a theme, okay? Which, let's see, for me, if I go Code, Preferences, Settings, Oh, actually, it was its own thing, wasn't it? Preferences, color theme. All right, I'm doing this dark plus. I could change it, say to dark Visual Studio, or even let's do light. So this is light plus. It's the default light theme. Okay, and this is what it would look like. And then if I look at my code, as you can see, that some of the colors have changed to adjust to this new color selection. So that's one thing that you have that you can change. You can download other themes. When you look at extensions, let's look at popular extensions. I think themes can be in here too. I'm not 100% though. Let's go back to installed. This is just showing extensions, and I want to see themes. I'm not sure about that. Let's find out. Let's look. So this is when you run code. This is when you use source control, which is we're not going to mess with in your search. Well, let's go back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close this real quick because I want to see the opening screen again. Alright. When you open this, you get a bunch of different stuff that'll help you. Here are extensions, color theme. Make the editor code look the way you love. Alright. There it is. So it's at the bottom of this list. Okay. So let's do like Solarized Dark. Okay, so that's the way this looks. And if I open my CSS file again, which I can do from Open Recent, and there it is, it's the last one I opened, and you will see how it looks. Okay, a little bit different. The one I used had the green here. This is a little softer for things that are comments. Alright, so go ahead and play with your editor, get used to it, get used to how it works. You can use it to make any kind of text file. You can use it to open any kind of text file. It's actually a good tool, but mostly we're going to use it for CSS and a few other small things. So everything we need is already built in. You don't have to add any extensions. In fact, I kind of would rather you don't, at least until we're done, unless you know what it's doing and what you're using it for something else, because that way it'll help us avoid problems if you run into trouble with one. Okay, so have fun with that, and if you have any problems, send me an email and I'll help you fix it. And yeah, we'll get it up and running. Now, the second thing that I showed you before was child themes. Child themes are something that we do in WordPress where we take a theme and we make that theme the parent theme, and then the child theme we can change and make small changes, but we keep all the things in the parent theme and get our changes in our child theme. So instead of creating a theme from scratch, we're going to start with one that exists and we're going to modify it. This is quite a bit easier way to start, and it still lets us do a lot of things. And so you can read through this if you want. It's in the theme handbook, okay, but it's, which I'll give you a link to that, but you can see it here, and it's in these advanced topics. And we're going to go through this in our next video, and we have to do a little bit of work. We have to create a folder, a style sheet, and a file that has some PHP in it, which we copy this exactly the way it is right here, so pretty much. So that won't be a problem. Okay? Alright, have a good week, and as I said, let me know if you have any problems, and I will talk to you otherwise on Friday. Bye.